Calgary condos absolutely smashed past 2022 pricing, inching towards $300,000. Now, this screen recording here is Calgary's historical data going all the way back to 2004. You can see that December, October, November of 2014 was the most expensive months for Calgary condos in our history. You can see that this past month, condos are at $293,000. And just below that, 2007, they were $292,000 for the benchmark price here in Calgary. That is nuts. Let's dive into it. Hi, my name's Fyfe, your Calgary Realtor. I take the time, break down the numbers, and provide you with value. If you have any questions, feel free to book a call and ask me some questions. Let's go. Now, the screen recording here is really interesting. I've pulled data all the way back from 2004, and looking at all the benchmark prices, you can see that there's only 18 other months in Calgary's history that condos were more expensive. You can see that if we drop down a little bit lower, you can see in 2023 February, we are in that top 30 range, where above it is about 2015 to 2014. So if we continue on this pace that we're on, we should be going upwards of that top 10, top 5 price point ever. Let's figure out what's going on in Calgary. Now, I'm going to start off with this graph like usual because I really do like it. In 2022, you can kind of see we hit a ceiling and then stabilized off. In 2022, condos were one of the most stable product types, them and townhouses. You can see that, yes, there was a small decline in the second half of the year, but it was very minimal. You can see that the sales relatively stayed flat. Inventory did fall, meaning that new listings started to slow down, which closed that gap of inventory and sales. And then in 2023, sales shot up and inventory shot up, but the gap between the two is very small compared to what it was in June, July, August of last year. So if new listings don't seem to come on the market, as affordable product is more and more competitive in Calgary, I can see this price point going past $300,000 and potentially achieving the highest we've ever seen in Calgary's history. So here's the year-to-date stats package for condo apartments in all of Calgary. For your personal situation, it makes way more sense to break it down into quadrant depending if you're buying or selling. But I do want to touch on this. So the benchmark price in January was $277, February $286, and now March $293. So that's a very fast increase month over month. You can see that the days on market has actually dipped down to 32, which is the lowest it's been in the last year. You can see in 2022, it dropped down to 34 days, but it hopped all the way back up to 52 days in October. So we did have a slowdown, but the price point, if you look in all of 2022, stayed very flat. Where this year, the affordable product in Calgary is continuing to drive up that market. As detached and townhouses become more expensive, condos are being more attractive to buyers coming into Calgary. So you can see that the sales went up, the new listings went up, and the inventory went up, but just not enough to keep up with demand. So let's start to break these down. Now, this chart here is the first step into figuring out how this could benefit your personal situation. Now, starting with the sales to new listing ratio, the average is 74%, which I thought was fairly low. If you look at City Center and Calgary North, under 70, they're really dragging that number down, where a lot of other things are upwards of 80 and above. You can see that the months of supply is very important. It's at 1.5 months. Now, City Center did drop to 2 months, which is a more balanced conditions, but still favoring the seller. You can see that Calgary Northeast is at 0.8. You can see that Calgary South and Calgary Southeast are also under 1, which are very strong sellers markets. So if you're buying or selling in those quadrants, it's very important to know this because you can use this to your advantage. Either a buyer being a little bit more aggressive on the negotiation process, or the seller being able to list at a little bit of a higher price, or depending what their strategy is, kind of placing it at or below market value to obtain more traction on their listing. You can see that this is the benchmark price for each individual quadrant, hovering around 293. Year over year, we're back up to double digits, which is pretty gnarly because I wasn't anticipating to see this high of an increase, especially this time of year. And then month over month, you can see that every quadrant increased as well. I actually totally forgot to put the price points there. So in post, I will put the price points there and showcase exactly how much each quadrant has increased over the last month. Now, this graph here is very interesting because it is the sales by price range. Now, you can see that the yellow bar is last year and the red bar is this year. So a lot of other product, the yellow bar greatly trumped the red bar. Now this year, you can see that the 200 to 300 and the 300 to 400 are very close to last year's year-to-date sales. So again, using this to your advantage, if you're in the 200 to 300 or you're in the 300 to 400, you need to keep this into consideration because these are going to be obviously the most active price points. anything under $200,000 is starting to almost disappear. Yes, you can still find apartments in Calgary for 180, 190, but with the increase of price, they're starting to kind of disappear a little bit. So I would imagine that number is going to continue to fall throughout the year. Now this chart here is year-to-date sales. Now you can see in 2023, we're very close to 2022, which is pretty mind-blowing because 2022 was one of the hottest years on record. Now 2023, I would have to imagine, is going to just be another hot year for condos. You can see in 2015 to 21, we were pretty slow. Condos in Calgary were very slow. I actually made a pretty decent video last year talking about what happened and how people were kind of stuck in condos because of the 2014-15 price points. Those who wanted to sell couldn't really sell because it was such a loss. So in 2022, once people started to see that activity, they put their homes up on the market, and with our net migration, it really worked. Now 2023, the case of affordable product is continuing to keep those numbers elevated. Now this one here is new listings. You can see that we're right on the 10-year average, which is really good to see. I wouldn't want to see new listings drop below that 10-year average because the price point will most likely tick up even more. So not much to say here. I wish that there were more new listings that come in on the market because it would help stabilize the price point a little bit more as the demand is so hot, but it is good to see it above the 10-year average. Now last and not least, this is just a visual price chart change. You can see that the red bar is the benchmark price. You can just see how much it shot up in 2023. So I'm gonna end with this. I'm not really sure exactly where the condos are gonna end this year. I don't really see a slowdown in sight. I think that affordable apartments in Calgary are going to be a very hot topic to talk about, them and townhouses. So it's very important to set up a plan, create a strategy, and figure out how you're going to get into the market, if at all. I would put money on it that we're probably going to beat 2014 and 2015 prices. So it will be an interesting story to watch unfold. So for more information, feel free to book a call with me, ask me questions, email me, and let me know what your thoughts are. So until next time, peace.